Hi, everybody. Welcome to the As You Are podcast. My name is Leslie Vandergans. I'm the founder of Enso Coaching and Consulting, and I'm here with two of our amazing coaches, Kathleen and Libby.
Hey.
Hello.
Same time.
Hey. And we have a very, very special guest today, Miss Bonnie Cullum from the Vortex Theater. She is the producing artistic director of Vortex.
Yes.
And, we're really excited to talk to you because Libby and I were just chatting before the show, and we saw that Vortex was established in 1988.
Yes.
Could it be one of the longest standing theaters in Austin?
I mean, we're getting up there in age. I mean, there are older theaters, but I was just thinking today that I came to Austin like in 1986, and then I guess I'm still here. And I was just like, oh, that's a really long time when you start to really consider the length of these decades.
Yeah.
But I started the Vortex right out of I was still in graduate school when we formed, and it was with my colleagues, Steve and Ray and Sean, and we'd been making all kinds of different theaters, projects, experiments. We ran each other's shows. We were doing all these things. And we were like, oh, let's just keep doing that for a while. And then I thought we'd all go off and do something else. And they all did, but I stayed.
And filled a need. Well, and filled a need, right? And I think that's one of the things that we've talked about before, which is, Vortex is very unique, and it is a very kind of Austin, it feels like such an Austin-based theater. And so when you went to go build Vortex or to create Vortex, what was the thought behind this theater company?
Well, while I was in grad school, I was particularly interested in things that were experimental, avant-garde. Steve and I would go to visit his family in New Jersey at holiday times and just go to every wild and crazy avant-garde show that we could find in New York in the 80s. This would be the late 80s, and there was a lot of experimental stuff going on. So very exciting time. And we were so deeply influenced by that, and we didn't see that kind of edgy work happening that much in Austin. There was a lot of good theater and safe theater and, your grandmother's theater. And, it was well done.
Right.
But we weren't seeing anything that was really pushing the envelope and really trying to make change. And I think that's the piece that really launched the Vortex, is that we were wanting to be change makers in the world. And by putting certain kinds of plays and certain kinds of voices and certain kinds of ideas out there, that we would stir things up and make the conversations happen that needed to happen. And of course, this is sort of coming out of Reagan years into Bush senior years. And we thought it was really bad then. And I'm just saying, we thought it was really bad.
Yeah.
And so, to then continue to be a force that can push back with culture, push back with art, push back with truth, and just saying, yeah, no, we're going to say this art like it is, or we're going to do it this way, or we're going to try an experiment. We've never done this before, so we're going to do a thing that we've never done before. And that has freed up so many, it's like unleashed these ideas that needed to happen in theater in Austin.
So for somebody who has never been to a Vortex show, how would you define or how would you communicate to somebody what they're getting into when they come to see a production there?
We like to talk about it as urgent, unashamed art. And I think that's important. Also, that no two shows are going to be the same. I think we have a lot of fresh voice in every season that is a kind of play or is a kind of project or has some unique twist that we haven't done before. So that's always exciting. A lot of times it'll be a world premiere. It'll be a thing that either it's a new script that has come to us, or perhaps it's something that we've developed in-house, or that one of our company members has created or brought to the table. So when you come to the Vortex, you have to look at what you're going to come see, because there's going to be a big difference between the Muttcracker Suite, which has, a dog and circus situation, and it's great for everybody, right? Grandma loves it more than the little kids. It's so popular. So that's a real cash dog for us. Or something like last season, like Mother Tree, which I worked on for years. And developed the material in workshops and developed all original music and created choreography with Tony Bravo. And, it was Sarah Saltwick finally wrote us a script. We actually had a script, right? So, but this is a piece that was put together from ideas and from seeds and from working together as an ensemble. So that's a totally different flavor.
Right.
And it has original music, and it has depth, and it also has an important environmental message, which I'd like to say is part of our existence, is really working on theater that is foundationally important for the earth.
Yeah. It makes me curious with all of this, too. Like, if you were to, we love talking about values and living by values, that if you were to list like 3 to 5 top values for the Vortex, what would you say?
We've actually got it all written out as core values. I probably can't memorize, I can't really speak them from memory, but Earth as foundational is one of them. The magic that emanates from spirit is one of them. The way that integrity and clarity and honesty are enfolded in the work that we're doing. And I think the inclusive nature of making theater, I like to think about the communities that we make when we make theater. It's a temporal community, and just for this time, we're in community together, and we're making this precious, amazing thing together. And there's really just nothing like that. And so when we treat one another in a certain way, and we're holding one another up, we're lifting one another up in a creative space. And then I have that, that moment when the show is over, when I'm never going to be with that exact same group of people again. We will be in other projects together, but that temporal community that formed for that time is so precious.
Magical. Yeah.
It is magic. It is magic. This is the transformation of ourselves, the transformation of our culture. We need that. We need that magic. We need that shift. And so it is a gift that theater is often giving.
Yeah. Well, how do you, when you talk about, the opportunity to transform people's lives or transform individuals through theater, can you talk about some ways that that's happened for you, or that you've seen that happen for even anybody, really?
I think one of the important things is to be sure that we are putting different types of people on the stage, whether that's ethnicity, race, weight, age, looking at the way that people look at the stage, and trying to find that way that that they are going to be able to play their own life story against the story that they're seeing on the stage. So they're having an experience where they can kind of see themselves reflected in some way, or some quality, or some situation that they have. And so that means that we need to have a lot of different kinds of bodies and voices expressing our stories, because then our life script might have a chance of intersecting with what they're seeing. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I think that's an important point of transformation because, yes, you can make theater alone in your room by yourself, but the real power comes when you're going to go share it with the audience. And the audience is going to come in there and they don't know necessarily how they're going to intersect, right? They may have preconceptions about it, they may not, but they don't know how they're going to step into that story and how it might be transformative for them.
Yeah.
So I think that representation is super important.
And also just the fact that that might be the first time that anyone has seen anyone that looks like them or, on stage, and how big that can be just in artist's journey, being like, oh, well, there's someone that looks like me up on stage doing it. Yeah, and connecting to that.
Yeah. And then it sparks new things. And, that revelation of, oh, I have a story too, is so important to our evolution as human beings. And that just sort of remembering our own value and the values that we hold in our relationships, in our families, in our communities, in our workplaces. Hopefully theater then is offering that, in the classical sense, that catharsis, where I'm feeling things that I might not have felt if I hadn't come to see the show.
Right.
And so that is in some way healing me or transforming me or
a spark for something.
I'm learning something.
Yeah.
I'm learning something about myself or about the world. And maybe then I'm even like, my favorite part, then after the show, I want people to have a response. Like, even if they hated it, I would rather they just not be like, oh, that's fun. What do you want to do now? You want to go to dinner?
Yeah.
And, if they are passionate about it and talking about it, either they loved it, they hated it, that moment when, that person who, the thing that happened, if that is still resonating for them like the next day, then we did our job.
Yeah. We talk a lot, in coaching about how, people just kind of, they put their blinders on and then they just get into, especially as we get older, you get into your routine and you get into your patterns and you get more kind of ingrained into and fixated into the things that you believe or the way that you want to be. And it's so interesting hearing you talk about this because it is true that theater does cause us to kind of remove ourselves from kind of the mundane or the monotony of that can be so easy to get into because it feels safer, it feels more comfortable. And so it's such an interesting concept to, encourage people to break it up, go see something new, because you never know what could be sparked, right? The possibilities are endless, truly, right? It's fascinating.
I also go ahead,
No,
Libby.
you go.
Oh, no, I just like the notion too of like eliciting a reaction. That it's not just coming in and being passive. That
Right.
It is like I want there to be a feeling, good or bad. Have a feeling.
And one of the things I love so much is when you go to a show at the Vortex, it is from the moment you walk into the beautiful like space with gardens and it's beautiful. There's
the delicious Patrices.
Yeah.
Yes, there's little kitty cats roaming around. I mean,
It's a vibe.
Yeah.
you know that you're in for like something unique and cool just from the way that it's,
Experiences.
and the show all feels very like an experience, and it all fits together, that you're going to get something unique and not something, super maybe commercial that you could go see anywhere, that it will be maybe a new work or something like that.
Right.
And I think that is such a cool thing, just that consistency to brand and really evoking that feeling is amazing.
Yeah, we've been there 31 years.
Yeah,
and
insanity.
when you look at it was an abandoned electrical warehouse. So, it's a mid-century warehouse that we've kind of built into this sacred place. But it was so hard.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Because it wasn't built to be a theater. And so every day I'm like, if I only had a theater, but I have a warehouse.
Yeah.
So, the focus when we first moved in was on making a playing space so that we could do shows and charge tickets and make enough money to pay the electric bill and the rent. So, now there's all these other twists and turns and complications. When we finally did get our certificate of occupancy, I still had to get the property rezoned to get the beer and wine license.
Interesting.
So there was a sort of like get through a hoop and then like 5 years later get through another hoop. And, so everything just took a really long time. And we didn't have the kind of big investment that I see people putting into a lot of restaurants and bars that can just walk in and they've got a whole bunch of money, or they borrow a whole bunch of money and they get all the equipment all at once, and they get it all shiny and pretty all at once, and they get all their decor all at once.
Yeah.
And none of that was not the case with every single thing. Was like, okay, this year we're going to put lights in the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year we're going to put air conditioning in the bar.
Yeah.
This year we're going to fix that plumbing problem. So it's sort of like ongoing care and tending of old mid-century warehouse.
Well, what was that like or how did you continue to have the tenacity to just keep building upon this thing when, it's not sexy to say we got to fix this plumbing issue and we're going to spend a year, prepping for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think it's genetic. My father and my grandfather really believed in perseverance, and they were both really incredible businessmen. And I think I get a lot of this, okay, now the next thing from them. But that also doesn't account for the private meltdowns of there's no way that I'm never going to, I remember, I don't know how many times I've been like, I'm never going to get through this.
Yeah.
It's going to be endless and we're never going to get to the other side. And I think when we finally got the liquor license in 2013 and everything, and Patrizzi's came in that same year, when those two things happened, and then other bars and restaurants on Manor Road also opened that year, everything changed.
Yeah.
Everything.
Really?
I mean, everything changed.
How did it change?
Suddenly we had people there all the time.
Nice.
And even though the bar was slow ramping up, it took a few years for it to really skyrocket. Once Patrizzi's came in and once they took off, then the Butterfly Bar just was, it just worked. And I feel like we've created a new model for theaters around the country who are like, because this is what enabled me to hire staff. Like before it was like me and some volunteers and some work study students. And like I could just not really even hire staff. But the Butterfly Bar revenue made it possible to actually have a staff, not only the bartenders, but the managing director, the box office manager. All these people are made possible by Butterfly Bar.
Another
money.
sustainable business inside of what you've built.
Because the public funding has deteriorated.
Right.
So the money that we once thrived on, now it's a nice token. Yeah. It's
an added perk, but not the
it's
meat
not,
lifeblood.
It's not enough to really sustain our programming. So having the Butterfly Bar be able to be it's a part of our nonprofit. It's a part of our mission. It's a nonprofit bar.
Yeah, amazing.
So love it.
The TABC was like, I'm sorry, what? Who's getting the money from this? I'm like, it's going back into the nonprofit. And they're like, what? I don't understand this. So that means also, when times are good, we do well. And, the last couple of years when it's been so hot and miserable and crazy, it's been really hard on business. So it's also a roller coaster.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, so can you talk about the genesis of, okay, we're gonna build this bar? How did Patrizzi's come into place? Like where did that spark come from for you?
So we had been trying for years to sell food and drink at the shows.
Yeah.
So we had a little Vortex cafe operation that we had pulled up from 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 me making most of the food to me not making most of the food. So we had this thing. We tried to open it regular hours, and it failed. So I went back to just doing it when we were going to have a show. But I was looking for someone to come in and turn the bar around into a destination. And my cousin Emily Nash was here in Austin, and she had this idea for the Butterfly Bar, and I immediately knew it was the right direction for it. And so she started it and did a year or two running it, and then she left. She moved away. But we were able to take it to the next level from beer and wine, which I had gotten the license for the Vortex Cafe. I had an unbelievable amount of hoops to jump through to get that liquor license.
I'm sure.
It was
yeah.
And just when you thought, and the woman at the city was just looking at me like, why are you doing this by yourself?
Yeah.
Why haven't you hired some high-powered person to do this for you? I was like, well, we were just so close, I thought.
Just a little more.
Just one more thing.
A little more. Anyway, so when we finally got that and again placed that first liquor order, I mean, we just didn't have anything. We didn't have an infrastructure to do what we were trying to do. So I was very happy that it worked. And I was very happy that the bar staff that I had at the time were so I don't know, eager to make it work, to try something different, to do it in a new way, and to have that, now we had glassware, it was really exciting. You could get a cocktail in a glass. Okay. So it was really, really good. And I know a lot of other theaters around the country have paid attention to the fact that this model is working so well for us. Patrizzi's, I did have on my radar that I wanted a food truck. I had built out the kitchen at the Vortex to be able to offer food, but the truth is it's too small, and we could just barely do the bar, and I just didn't think that we needed to be in the food business full time. But I had several people kind of interview for this food truck thing, and Nick Patrizzi came in totally spiffed up in his white chef's coat and his chef's costume, and he just had this vision for doing this pasta truck like his ancestors had when they came over to Beaumont, and they had this Italian restaurant in Beaumont for many years, Patrizzi's. That's why it's been established. It's been practically longer than Nick has been alive. But he grew up with that kind of hand-pulled pasta and fresh-made recipes. And he started finishing out that space and getting it ready for the truck. And I realized I hadn't even tried the food yet. And I was like, oh, man, it better be good. I'm like,
what am I signing into?
So he gave a series of kind of little dinner party things before he opened that he invited all of his investors, and I got to go and try all the dishes and everything. And I was like, okay, this is going to be great.
Oh, my
But
goodness.
we didn't know how great. I mean, I didn't know that people would stand in line for an hour just for Patrizzi's.
So good.
So good.
We're talking about it, and I'm like,
I know. I was like,
so
I
good.
right now.
I can smell the garlic.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So good. It's my favorite.
I actually do not go to get Italian food except there.
Oh,
like,
amazing.
I mean, it's so
really good.
Well, anyway, because it's so good and because it has blown up like it has. Nick also opened another storefront out on Cuernavaca, and then he also has Vic and Al's across the street, which is the Cajun restaurant across from the Vortex. So it's definitely a Patrizzi's kind of world, and Nick makes a big difference.
Oh, my gosh. Well, it's so smart.
it is really smart, and how much you play a role in that then too.
I know cultivating and growing together.
Yeah, he's been incredibly supportive of the Vortex, and we are thrilled not only with the quality of what we get, but with the relationships with his whole staff. And
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, okay, so just to go back just for a second, when you think about the evolution of the Vortex from 1988 when it was established to where it is today, businesses aside, how has the Vortex as a theater company evolved?
Well, we started out doing plays that were written scripts. Some of them were our scripts and our adaptations. But then in the early 90s, we started making more devised and original work, things that were, like I said, created from an idea, created from a theme, created from a seed. And I've done a lot of that work over the years. And I guess I didn't know that was coming. If you had asked me when we started, I wasn't really thinking about having a career that had these real highlights of it's a piece we made from scratch. You hope for that. And I never really thought that I would have so much of that.
Yeah.
So that's been rich. We had a film screening last night at the Vortex that they moved into the theater because it was cold. And we were trying to get the projector to work, and we found out that they were going to have a DVD. So we hadn't used our DVD player in years, but we have one. So so Tamara pulls out the DVD and gets it all hooked up, and I pull out a DVD from upstairs, which is Dark Goddess 2004. So it's been 21 years since I made this piece, and it's playing on the big screen, and I'm like, oh man, I don't remember that part. It's like I haven't really looked at it I haven't looked at it at all.
Yeah.
But it was pretty good. Like I was like, oh, right. Yes.
You've done some good stuff.
This was good.
Yeah.
And people loved that show. They're always asking me when I'm going to do Dark Goddess again. But
maybe this is
I
the launch.
did it 5 times.
Did you?
So it seemed sufficient.
But it seemed maybe it's been a minute though. You
Yeah.
need it
Well,
again.
clearly it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
So anyway.
New generation.
And I was thinking about Troadus, which was one of our biggest award-winning shows. It was the Trojan Women. And I had done it for my thesis at UT, and I did a new production of it with a script that my mother wrote and the original music that was written for my thesis, mashup. So anyway, there's also some talk about doing that again because... oh, we don't need any anti-war plays. No, none of that.
It's no longer relevant.
Nope.
History never repeats itself.
No.
Yeah. That's amazing. Well, and when you think about, okay, how are you thinking about the evolution of Vortex next? Like what's on the vision board for this company?
Yeah. Because of climate crisis, I really think that theaters need to be a place that people can think about going to be together. What I have experienced over the last few years with these really serious winter emergencies and problems in Austin was the way that people needed to come to the theater after that was over.
Interesting.
Same thing happened in the pandemic. Though, as soon as we reopened, even though it was outside, we had the bar open outside and we measured and had all the tables all spaced around and you had to wear a mask to go to your table. People were like rushing to the bar to see each other, to be together. And I think it's really important that we make theaters be places that aren't just lofty art places, but they're places that feel like home and community and kind of what we were talking about the transformation and magic piece too. But just when I've seen people come back together again after these life-threatening emergencies or staying at home in their little pod for months on end, and then to see people kind of rush into each other's arms in a way that I just want to hold that space for people to feel like they can come there regardless of whether they're seeing the show or not, that they can come there and be there in a space that is safe and welcoming, safer, a safer harbor. I don't know if we ever get a safe harbor anymore, but we get a safer harbor. And that there might be something magical that happens to me if I go there too.
Yeah.
It's not just
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the theater, like, as a place, is able to stay a culturally vibrant space after I'm gone.
Absolutely.
In terms of the art, we are at a really interesting crossroads. I'm not really ready to retire, but I also need to make plans for the Vortex for when I'm not able to lead the Vortex.
Yeah.
So I'm doing a lot of work with artistic leadership in trying to diversify the way that information is coming to me, the projects that people are suggesting, the ideas that are coming to the table. And I've been doing that for a number of years now, but now I have to get kind of serious about it. I can't just be mucking around. Let's have an artistic leadership meeting.
Yeah.
I've got to actually figure out how to get from here to what doesn't really look like retirement to me, but pulling back.
Yeah.
I think, I'd love to be like Ellen Stewart, who was at La Mama, still making shows. She was just making one show a year, but she was still making shows up until through the year that she died. So, that would be my preference. If I've got my wits about me and my body's working okay, that I could continue to make theater.
Yeah.
But I have to get from here to there, and that part in the immediate, in the 10 years to come,
Right.
I think that some of that stuff will get sorted out.
How are you thinking about that?
I have hopes that some of the people that I have engaged with in artistic leadership will either come back.
Yeah.
Or
Please. Note to self. Friends, if you're listening.
I mean, again, people need to go off and pursue their lives and do what they need to do. And sometimes they come back. And when you look at the Vortex company now, I do have a handful of people who've been around for more than 30 years, more than 25 years, more than 20 years. These people will be able to move some things forward, but they're also old like me. So I feel like there's a way in which the sparks need to come kind of from the middle and then be fed by the young voices and the people who have energy and strength and new ideas, right? Stamina, lots of stamina.
Keep going through those hoops.
I mean,
I love working with students. I love working with interns. I always learn something amazing from them that I didn't know, but also I love seeing them come into their own power and just be like, of course I can handle this project. Yeah, I got this.
That's so great.
Yeah, it's really good.
How do you think about your leadership in the context of preparing somebody who's next and carrying on somewhat of the legacy, but also kind of bringing their own to it?
Well, again, it kind of comes back to that integrity piece, which is I will tell the director exactly what I think about it, but I won't necessarily tell the actors that. I will talk directly to the person in charge, and I'll say, you might think about this, you might think about this. I've been trying to reframe any no's that I have to questions so that we're having a process that is more about exploring than about me dictating some sort of thing that I happen to know. It always works better if you do it like this. Which really isn't very helpful.
Right.
So I think just trying to cultivate an area where we can have inquiry, where I can ask them questions, where they can openly steal my ideas if they're helpful. I'm not precious about it. And it's like, if you did this, would this be better? So I think there's a lot of that kind of thing. And then I'm reading lots of new plays, right? Everybody's throwing new plays at me. And saying,
you were reading a play when we walked in.
Yes, I am reading that play. One of my associate artistic directors says, this is the play.
We can confirm.
And
she was reading.
I have to finish this play because it's really good. And I have to then figure out if we want to do it.
That's it. Yeah.
But there's a lot of that. And so I'm getting a lot of input from a lot of different directions about new projects. And then also grant writing.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I did not want to be a grant writer when I grew up. And that's what I'm spending the majority of my life force right now is on grant writing. And I can't tell you that I'm real happy about it, but I think I'm getting pretty good at it.
Mm.
And so some of these grants I've gotten. So I put in for really, man, if we could get a couple more prestigious or large grants, it sure would help.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. Bonnie, you're awesome. This is
That's
really
true.
special
I know.
that Austin has
I know.
something like the Vortex and something that is very unique to Austin, but that has also been sustainable through some really, really
Tough
difficult
times,
times,
absolutely.
in the city and in the evolution of the city
Yep.
too. Just like you were talking about, I mean, the growth and the explosion of Manor, and some of those
Yeah.
things can either enhance, but it can also threaten, right? And so it's so great to see how you guys have continued to sustain and continue to stay a part of this
Thanks.
community.
Thanks. It is the Travis County would determine that the best use of our property would be to tear it all down and build condominiums.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
there has to be a way that these last vestiges of culture, green space. I mean, we didn't talk about the butterfly garden.
It's so pretty.
We got more than 40 species of butterflies that have come through there. So
Amazing.
it's worked. That has been amazing. But having a verdant green space in central East Austin that isn't being taken, yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's critical. And I'm really lucky that my father and my great aunt put my great aunt Eloise, who the stage is named for. My great aunt Eloise put up the money for the property in 1999 and bought it.
Oh, wow.
Which preserved it from development because
Right.
we would never have been able to afford to stay there.
Yeah.
Eventually, it would have been sold to a developer.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate enough to get in just before the edge of the boom,
Right.
Yeah.
and to hold that property. So I'm just really lucky that my dad was a good old boy enough to go in and shake hands with the guy who owned the property, who really didn't want to sell it to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's so important to one of the things that I'm hearing, from this entire conversation is that there were lots of really critical decisions that were made along the way that helped get Vortex to the place that it is today.
Mhm.
And it wasn't an easy journey. Obviously, lots of sweat equity has gone into preserving it and keeping it where it is, but it is also the learning from the challenges that have come up and the not giving up the tenacity piece of it, the perseverance, I think was the word that you used.
Yes.
Right? And that's a lesson, right? I think that's a lesson for anybody who has a passion about a passion for something and a vision for something, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, too, what's coming for me as you're saying all this is like having that clear vision and what is grounding at the onset so that as everything else is coming through, that it's like that is, of course, the guiding light.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And being able to be flexible in a lot of spaces, but knowing where you need to hold firm, too.
Yeah.
And the people,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
having these people with me along the journey again, many of whom who have gone off to do other things, but they were seriously on the journey with me at some point.
Yeah.
They were like right there in the trenches with me when we were battling the thing, and when we won or when we lost, or they so many people, and then also the generational thing of having had people kind of grow up in the Vortex, like Kathleen.
I was gonna say.
You're a Vortex baby.
But I mean, there are people who have met at the Vortex and gone on to have children.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a whole generational thing to see people, and some of them quit doing theater because they had children,
Right.
and some of them didn't.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting the way that the family of the Vortex has evolved,
Yeah.
and that would include all the crazy old aunts and uncles,
Right.
and also all the vibrant new voices, the younger voices. Really felt that with the pandemic, as we started to open back up again in this real kind of creepy masked, limited audience way, show your card at the door kind of way.
Right.
All these young people came out of the woodwork. They had been in university trying to get their theater degrees while the pandemic was happening. They'd been doing projects behind in glass
Screens,
booths.
right.
Oh my gosh.
You know, they were doing everything virtual, and they were just so hungry to actually do a show. Like they were like, I'll do anything kind of energy. So that was really exciting that there was this whole burst of young people that just went, yes, give me
Let's
live
go.
theater. I am so done with sitting on my computer in a Zoom box.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, Bonnie, one of the things that we've been talking a lot about is, you know, just AI and like what's happening with AI and what it's going to do. And I think we're all aligned that there's going to be a renaissance of live, unfabricated acoustic theater.
Sure.
Is that? Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm gonna say it's acoustic, right? You know,
Just
like
things
just
that haven't been tampered with by any kind of.
that there's going to be a real desire for that, and I mean, I think we're all in the camp of this rebirth is going to be huge. I think for theaters
At
and
least
for live
a
musicians.
little while until they figure out how to make the AI actors.
Right? Exactly.
And
I
then,
mean, yeah,
you know, this is going to be a thing.
right.
So, you know, yes, there will be this huge rebirth, and then there'll be this whole moment. This is the play that I'm reading right now. There'll be this whole moment of, oh, well, you know, if you have AI actors, they don't need breaks.
Yeah, they don't need
They don't need the
cash.
union. They don't need health care.
Yeah, right.
You know, so, you know, this is a slippery slope. So let's, you know, hang on to our integrity with
Absolutely.
making theater something that you can't experience in another way.
Yeah, I love
think
that.
that's really powerful.
I love that. Okay, if people want to learn more about Vortex and the entire area, the Butterfly Bar, Patrizi's, etc., how do they learn more about you and the organization?
Our website is vortexrep.org, and there is also a Butterfly Bar website, butterflybaраustin.org.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would go to the Vortex first. There's a calendar of events there, and it's also got all the Butterfly Bar events. So if it's happening at the Vortex compound, which I think the Vortex holds the Butterfly Bar and Patrizi's, they are doing business at the Vortex. So the Vortex is the big thing. And then we've got our Eloise stage and our garden stage and our butterfly garden and our pony shed. So there's lots of different places where a performance might be happening. It might be a concert on the outside stage. It might be a show on the outside stage. It might be a show. We just had a show in the pony shed.
Which I loved.
Yes.
So good.
Yes. Dora's Gently Used Dreams store.
Oh,
We were buying and selling dreams in the Dreams store.
I love that.
So, you know, it could be, it's not necessarily inside on the stage, although that's where most of the theater happens. But we've also had some great events happening in the bar. You can check out the calendar and see there. And then from there, you can go and read more details and buy tickets and stuff like that.
Wonderful.
Amazing.
Well, thank you so much, Bonnie.
Thank
Really
you for
appreciate
having
it. This
me.
was so great.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Yay.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And as always, subscribe to the podcast on all channels, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.